everyone, welcome to SportsKhabri. I'm Rahul, and there's some chatter about whether Rohit Sharma can make it to the 2027 Cricket World Cup or not. Before I give you my personal take on this scenario and whether I think he'll make it there or not, I thought let's put down the facts first. We'll throw it wide open. You guys can then provide your takes and then I'll give you mine. And I just want to sort of say that before diving into it, that my take is largely based on the emotional side of things, not the stats based side of things. So yeah, first off, it's nice to see that Gautam Gambhir has come out and said in a press conference that he expects or he's hopeful that Virat and Rohit both can make it to the 2027 World Cup. The only thing in their way is fitness, is what the former India left-handed batter has said. Now the interesting thing is Virat Kohli is most likely going to make it. He's 35 years old. He'll be 3 years down the line. He's going to be 38, and he's fit as ever. Right? He's probably one of the fittest guys in the Indian team. He moves probably the fastest in the Indian team. I don't think anybody's doubting whether or not Kohli is going to make it. And yeah, I don't think run scoring will ever be a problem for Virat Kohli. So let's put that aside. I think the real challenge is around Rohit Sharma and whether he can make it or not. Currently 37 years old. He's going to be 40 by the time he plays that World Cup. And yeah, unfortunately, the bad news is that a lot of the numbers and the stats go against Rohit. So a lot of the data that we've got is just not very in favor of very heavily in favor of older players playing in an ICC 50 over World Cup. So yeah, as for Indians, the oldest player to ever play an ICC 50 over World Cup was Sunil Gavaskar, aged 38. So yeah, Rohit's going to be 2 years older than that. So it's going to be interesting to see whether that happens. And yeah, Sunil Gavaskar 38. The second oldest was MS Dhoni 38 as well. Just turned 38 when he played the World Cup. Sachin Tendulkar was 37. Yeah, it just goes to show you that it is a big challenge to play the sport after a certain point, to go and field for 50 overs, not easy, and then to come out and bat again. It does take a lot from out of your body, and I think Rohit will feel that as time goes by. And I think this is one of the biggest factors in the fitness conversation, whether age will allow him to play that World Cup or not. Yeah, this is the first stat, which is just the fact that no Indian has ever crossed the age of 39 and played in a 50 over World Cup. So that's a big stat that already goes against Rohit Sharma. Now, to add to this, let's take a look at the 2023 ICC Men's World Cup. There was not a single player from any team aged 40. Another factor that goes to show how hard it is for somebody of that age to come out and play a 50 over World Cup. The oldest players came from associate nations or smaller countries. Now you had Wesley Baresi, who was the oldest, 39 years. Roelof van der Merwe, 38. Mohammad Nabi, 38. And then Mahmudullah, 37. Again, you go to these countries where there isn't a lot of talent to choose from. That's why you're going with these older names. The fifth oldest player at the tournament was Ravi Ashwin. He was 37 years old. But again, it just shows you how hard it is for a player beyond a certain age to go out and do it again and do it again. So yeah, but there's no doubting Rohit Sharma's numbers in 50 over World Cups, just staggering. He averages 60. It's incredible. He's got a high score of 140 in World Cup. So I think that's never going to be a problem. I don't think anybody's going to question Rohit Sharma's quality as a batter going into such a big tournament. He's got everything to back him. And this new version of Rohit Sharma that we've seen over the last few years, which is so selfless, just go out there, score the runs. And it's really refreshing to see it. And I think for these reasons, nobody's ever going to say, you know what, let's drop Rohit Sharma because his runs, he's not getting the runs. He's not going to be there to score big hundreds. He's going to be there to give you those 60s and 70s in very, very quick time, or probably even a 30 or a 40 in quick time. Just get India off to a flyer and let the middle order take care of the rest. So that part of it, I don't think anybody's really worried about. Rohit Sharma will do well with the bat. He's going to play his role, the same role that he's done for the last couple of years. It's a very selfless role that he's taken upon himself, and not many would do it. So if you look at the other names, coming through, you've got Shubman Gill at the other end, who likes to take his time, who likes to have a look at the ball, and then start. He'll get going. And number 3 is Virat Kohli, another one of those players who will sort of settle in. He wants to play that anchor role and he wants to play long. So the question really is, does India have another player like Rohit Sharma who's going to come out and go all guns blazing from ball number one? I don't see it. I don't really see it. I mean, who is going to replace him? Is it going to be Rutraj Gaikwad, who's a very sort of similar type of player to a Shubman Gill and a Virat Kohli, who likes to take his time and he can play the anchor role as well. Surely it doesn't look like India are looking at that option because they've decided against picking Rutraj for the Sri Lanka series, and it's a sign to show that I think they want players with intent, with the right mindset. Probably another option is Yashasvi Jaiswal. Is he going to be the guy to replace Rohit in the long term, have that righty-lefty combination going? And maybe just the explosive top order batter that India need. Again, we don't know because we just haven't seen, again, Yashasvi Jaiswal. We haven't seen enough of him in the 50-over format. So there are a lot of unanswered questions. And this may just go in favor of Rohit Sharma. Probably just to know that he's tried and tested. We know what he's got. We know what you're going to get from batting perspective, purely cricketing perspective. That he's going to do well. He's going to score runs and he's going to show intent. So I think these factors do go in favor of Rohit Sharma. Again, it is just the conversation around fitness that will keep cropping up. Players at that age, do they really play World Cups? But I think there's just one more factor that goes in favor of Rohit Sharma. And I think it's a big factor that goes in favor of him. I think he's going to be hungrier than anybody else in that Indian team to lift that World Cup. Let's not forget that Rohit Sharma was not a part of the 2011 squad that went on to win the World Cup. That big squad of Sachin Tendulkar, Yuvraj Singh, MS Dhoni, Gautam Gambhir himself was a part of that team. Virat Kohli, to go and win it in India was special, and I'm sure Rohit is hurting with the fact that he wasn't a part of that squad. He's come and said that he wants to win the World Cup publicly. It's not new. It's nothing new that he wants to win it. And yeah, to top it all off, I think there's a sense of pain that he's also going to be carrying from the 2023 World Cup. Although India managed to win the 2024 ICC Men's T20 World Cup, it's probably not the same as winning the 50-over World Cup. And I think Rohit Sharma will know that, having gone so close in 2023 and losing that final to Australia will really hurt them. And it'll be really hurting him as well. I think this factor of hunger is very understated, and I think it's that one factor that could potentially carry him and see him through to the next World Cup. Again, it's not his call, but I think if whatever he needs to do from his end, the hunger to go out and play the 2027 World Cup will be enough to sort of say, hey, Rohit, you know what, keep going until that last sort of destination has arrived. And it's a very understated factor. We see that with a lot of athletes around the world. For example, Lionel Messi, and people were questioning whether he'd play the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. The fact that he didn't do it, he had never done it ever, prompted, I mean, it really galvanized the rest of his teammates to make sure that they won it for him. You know, he played it, he pushed, of course, himself to be fit for that World Cup, played it and did so well, won the World Cup, and it also gets your teammates going. I think the fact that Rohit hasn't won it, and by the time he'll be 40, the oldest player in the team for sure, will get everybody else going around him saying, oh, you know what, we have to win it for Rohit. I think that's another understated factor. The same probably can be said about Cristiano Ronaldo. He's never won the World Cup, and that could push him to really, you know, give his body a go till the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And I just think this one factor which is so understated and not spoken about enough, might just carry him through. But yeah, guys, the facts are there. I've given you the data. I just want to know what you think. Can Rohit Sharma make it to the 2027 50-over World Cup? I think he will make it. He'll be the first Indian to do it at that age because of the emotional side of things. They're so understated, but I think that's what sport is all about. It is emotions, and sometimes stories and narratives are so important in sport, and I think that will carry him through to that point. Let me know in the comments whether you think Rohit will make it to that 2027 World Cup. And like always, like and share these videos, subscribe to SportsKhabri, and see you soon. Goodbye.